The storm rolled in fast, swallowing the last light of day and turning the sky the color of old bruises. Cole had just finished mending the north fence when he saw her. A lone figure stumbling down the muddy road, her dress soaked, hair plastered to her face, clutching something tight beneath her shawl. He'd seen strangers pass through before, but there was something about the way she moved, half running, half falling, that made him drop his tools and hurry to the gate. She nearly collapsed as she reached him, her breath coming in sharp, panicked gasps. "Please," she managed, voice trembling. "I need shelter, just for tonight." Cole nodded, already reaching to steady her. "Come on, let's get you inside before the sky opens up." He led her to the porch, the first fat drops of rain splattering the boards as he opened the door. Inside, the woman hovered near the fire, shivering, her eyes darting to every shadow. Cole fetched a blanket and draped it over her shoulders, then poured a cup of coffee, setting it on the table between them. "Name's Cole," he said gently. "You're safe here. No one's gonna bother you." She nodded, but her hands shook so badly she nearly spilled the cup. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the thunder. For a long while, neither spoke. The storm battered the windows, wind howling like a wounded animal. Cole busied himself with chores, giving her space, but he couldn't help glancing over, wondering what had driven her out into the night. Finally she spoke, her voice so soft he almost missed it. "My name's Clara." She hesitated, then looked up, her eyes red-rimmed and haunted. "I'm sorry to trouble you. I had nowhere else to go." Cole shook his head. "No trouble at all. Folks help each other out here. That's how we survive." He tried to offer a reassuring smile, but Clara only pulled the blanket tighter, as if bracing herself against more than just the cold. The hours dragged on. Cole made a simple supper, beans and bread, and set a plate in front of her. She picked at the food, barely eating, her gaze fixed on the fire. At last, when the wind had died and the rain softened to a steady patter, she spoke again. "You ever keep a secret, Cole?" Her voice was strange, almost hollow. Cole considered. "I reckon everyone's got a secret or two, some heavier than others." Clara nodded, her lips pressed tight. What if keeping it meant someone else might get hurt? She looked at him then, really looked, and Cole saw the fear in her eyes. Fear not just for herself, but for someone else. He set his cup down, leaning forward. "You can tell me, Clara. Whatever it is, I'll listen." She hesitated, glancing at the door, then back at Cole. "Don't tell anyone," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Promise me." Cole nodded, his voice gentle. "You have my word." Clara took a shaky breath, her hands twisting in her lap. "There's a man in town, Mr. Harlan. Folks think he's a good man, a church man. But he's not. He's done things, terrible things. To me. To others. I tried to tell the sheriff once, but Harlan's got friends everywhere. They called me a liar, said I was just a girl looking for trouble." Her voice broke, and she looked away, shame burning in her cheeks. Cole felt a cold anger settle in his chest. He'd heard stories about men like Harlan, men who hid behind money and reputation, who hurt others and walked away clean. "You did the right thing, Clara. Telling the truth takes guts." She shook her head, tears slipping down her face. "It didn't matter. No one believed me. And now he knows I tried to speak. He said if I ever told anyone again, he'd make sure I disappeared for good." Cole reached across the table, his hand gentle on hers. "You're safe here. I won't let anything happen to you." But inside, he felt the weight of her secret settle on his shoulders, heavier than any burden he'd ever carried. The storm eased, but the tension inside the small ranch house only grew heavier. Cole sat awake long after Clara had curled up on the old sofa, her breathing shallow and restless. He stared into the dying fire, replaying her words in his mind. The name Harlan echoed in his thoughts, stirring up memories of the man's smug smile at Sunday gatherings, the way he always seemed to have a hand in every town decision. Cole had never liked him, but he'd never imagined the darkness that might be hiding behind that polished front. He checked the locks twice before finally settling into his chair, rifle propped within reach. Outside, the rain slowed to a whisper, and the prairie seemed to hold its breath. Cole's mind raced with questions. How many others had Harlan hurt? How many had tried to speak, only to be silenced by fear or disbelief? He thought of Clara's trembling hands, her haunted eyes, and felt a surge of protectiveness he hadn't known in years. Dawn crept in slow and gray. Cole brewed coffee and set a cup beside Clara, who woke with a start, eyes wide and wary. For a moment she looked as if she might bolt, but then she saw Cole's gentle expression and relaxed, just a little. "Did you sleep?" he asked softly. She shook her head. "Not much. I keep thinking he'll find me." Cole nodded, understanding more than he let on. "You're safe here, I promise." Clara sipped her coffee, her hands still shaking. "I don't know what to do, Cole. If I go back, he'll ruin me. If I run, he'll find me. He always does." Her voice was small, defeated. Cole leaned forward, his voice steady. "You don't have to decide right now. You can stay as long as you need. We'll figure something out." The day passed in uneasy quiet. Cole went about his chores, always keeping an eye on the road, half expecting to see a stranger riding up, or worse, Harlan himself. Clara helped where she could, feeding the chickens, sweeping the porch, but her mind was far away. Every time a shadow flickered or a branch snapped, she flinched, her eyes darting to the door. By afternoon, Cole knew he couldn't keep her secret to himself, not if it meant letting a man like Harlan keep hurting people. But he also knew the risk. Harlan's reach was long, and the town was quick to turn on outsiders. He needed proof, something no one could ignore. He needed a plan. That evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in streaks of orange and purple, Clara sat on the porch, knees drawn to her chest. Cole joined her, the silence between them comfortable now. "You ever think about leaving?" she asked suddenly. "Just riding out and never looking back?" Cole smiled, a sad, faraway look in his eyes. "I did once. But this land, it's in my blood. And sometimes, running just means you're letting the bad men win." Clara nodded, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "I wish I was brave like you." Cole shook his head. "You're braver than you know. Telling the truth, even when no one believes you, that takes more courage than most folks have." She looked at him, hope flickering in her eyes for the first time. "Do you really think anyone would listen? If we tried again?" Cole squeezed her hand. "If we do it together, maybe they will." A sudden noise broke the moment, a horse's hooves pounding up the road, fast and urgent. Cole stood, heart racing, and reached for his rifle. Clara shrank back, fear etched deep in her face. The rider pulled up hard, dust swirling, and Cole recognized the sheriff's badge glinting in the fading light. Sheriff Dorsey swung down, his face grim. "Evening, Cole. Heard you had a visitor last night. Mind if I come in?" Cole nodded, stepping aside. Clara's eyes widened, but she stayed silent, clutching the blanket tight. The sheriff's gaze lingered on her, then shifted to Cole. "We need to talk. About Harlan." The words hung heavy in the air, and Cole knew the time for secrets was over. Inside, the sheriff removed his hat and set it on the table, his eyes never leaving Clara. "Word travels fast in a small town," he said quietly. "Harlan's been asking questions, looking for you." Clara's hands tightened around the blanket, her knuckles white. Cole stood between her and the lawman, his stance protective. "She's under my roof, Dorsey. No one's laying a hand on her." The sheriff nodded, his face lined with worry. "I'm not here to take her, Cole. I'm here because I believe her." Clara's breath caught. For a moment she seemed unable to speak. You believe me?" Dorsey nodded, his voice low. "I've seen too much in this job to ignore a woman's fear. And you're not the first to come to me about Harlan. But every time, the story gets buried. Folks are scared, or they get paid off, or they just disappear." Cole's jaw tightened. "So what do we do?" The sheriff looked at Clara, his eyes gentle. "We need proof, something that can't be denied. Harlan's careful, but men like him always slip up. If you're willing, Clara, I'll help you, but it won't be easy. He's got friends in high places. Clara hesitated, her eyes searching Cole's face. He nodded, silent but steady. I'll stand with you, he said, whatever it takes. She drew a shaky breath, then nodded. I'll do it. I'm tired of running. The plan came together slowly, each step weighed with risk. Clara would write down everything she knew, dates, names, places. The sheriff would gather what evidence he could, quietly, so as not to tip Harlan off. Cole would keep watch, making sure Clara was never alone. The days passed in a tense blur, every knock at the door, every shadow in the yard, setting their nerves on edge.
One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Clara found Cole in the barn, mending a broken gate. She stood in the doorway, her silhouette framed by the last light of day. "Thank you," she said softly, "for believing me, for not turning me away." Cole set down his hammer, wiping his hands on his jeans. "You don't have to thank me. No one should have to face this alone." She stepped closer, her voice trembling. "I was so scared, Cole. I thought if I told anyone, it would only get worse. But you listened. You didn't judge." Cole looked at her, his eyes kind. Sometimes all a person needs is someone to listen, someone to stand with them when the world turns its back. A sudden commotion outside broke the quiet. A horse galloping hard, voices raised in anger. Cole and Clara rushed to the porch, hearts pounding. In the fading light, they saw Harlan himself, flanked by two men, riding up fast. He dismounted, swaggering toward the house, his eyes cold and hard. "Evening, Cole. I hear you've been harboring a runaway. That's a dangerous game." Cole stepped forward, blocking the door. "She's not running, she's standing up, and you're not welcome here." Harlan sneered, glancing at Clara. "You think anyone will believe her over me? I own half this town." The sheriff appeared then, stepping out of the shadows, his badge glinting. "Not anymore, Harlan. We've got your words, your threats, and more than one witness. It's over." For the first time, Harlan's confidence faltered. He looked from the sheriff to Cole, then to Clara, who stood tall, her fear replaced by something fiercer. "You can't do this," Harlan spat. The sheriff's voice was calm, final. "You're done, Harlan. The truth always comes out." As the lawmen led Harlan away, Clara sagged against the porch rail, tears streaming down her face, not of fear, but of relief. Cole put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "It's over," he said softly. "You're free." She looked up at him, hope shining in her eyes. "Thank you, Cole, for listening, for believing, for standing with me when no one else would." And as the stars blinked awake above the prairie, Cole knew that sometimes the bravest thing a person could do was simply to listen and to stand beside someone when the world tried to silence their truth.